How you like me now? I'm here to expose the lies, the schemes, yeah, the power that froze. I'm breaking chains, no silence allowed. Speaking for the people, I'm making you proud. From the streets to the suites, I've been in the fight. Shining through the dark, bringing truth to light. Leadership in action, and the time is ours. Rodney's on the mic, speaking truth to power. Speak on it now, let the truth unfold. Speak on it now, gotta break the mold. From the pain to the purpose, let the voices tower. Rodney W. Collins, speaking truth to power. I've seen the struggle, I've felt the strain, but silence in the face of wrong is the real pain. It's more than a fight, it's the courage to stand and build a better world with this strength of our hands. Leaders and liars, we're calling them out. For the ones without a voice, we're ending the doubt. Every word I speak, every action I take, it's about the truth and justice, no room for fake. Speak on it now, let your voice ignite. Speak on it now, stand up, take flight. From the ground to the towers, let the movement flower. Rodney W. Collins, speaking truth to power. Stand tall, speak loud, let the world take note. Power to the people, every word I quote. This is your moment, the time is here. Rodney's on the mic, making change crystal clear. Speak on it now, time to break the chains. Speak on it now, let the truth remain. From the silence to the spotlight, let the voices shower. Rodney W. Collins is speaking truth to power. Good morning. I don't know why this is distorted, but we're going to get into this. How's everybody doing out there this morning? First and foremost, giving honor to God who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. I'm back. I had to take a little hiatus last week, but I'm back. How's everybody doing at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, every Saturday morning here on the Speak On It show. Rodney W. Collins, Speak On It show. Sabrina Wooten, good morning, cuz. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. James Battle, my brother, good morning. Appreciate you tuning in, my brother. Brian Hoodie, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for the support. And my brother, Josh Boyd. See you soon, bro. Top of the morning. How's everybody doing out there? Hopefully you had a good Easter. The world, the world has changed. The world has changed. It changed a lot. It's changed a lot. We got a lot going on around us. And before we start today, before we really get into this, Terrence Collins, my brother, good morning. Appreciate you. Before we get into this, I want to start off with something. So, well, let's start with this. Let's start with this first. So, this is my logo for, let me take my glasses off, the Rodney W. Collins channel. You can watch it on live on Facebook, YouTube, every Saturday morning, as I mentioned, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. You can go there, listen to it. You can go there and catch all the old shows. Rodney W. Collins channel, YouTube, Facebook. Feel free to subscribe. But what I wanted to tell you was I'm looking to expand my brand and everything that goes along with it. So if you or anyone you know may be interested in starting a podcast, getting something out there that you want to get out there, I am opening the Rodney W. Collins channel up for anyone who wants to start a podcast or is doing a podcast and wants to fall under this umbrella. I'm expanding my horizons. So if you want to join, reach out to me, rwcoolins@yahoo.com, or you can call me, 770-880-4528. I'm looking to expand, looking to do some different things. So if you're interested, reach out to me, the Rodney W. Collins channel, or you can send me a message through, the messenger on Facebook or YouTube, however you want to do it. Now, along with that, I want to say this, and I found this quote that fits perfectly, but I want to start off the show with this because it's something that has been festering and eating at me for a while. So I had to do a little research. The quote starts off with this. It says, every minute you spend in anger is a minute stolen from your potential. Every minute you spend in anger is a minute stolen from your potential. Reggie P. wrote, my brother, good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you. I bring this quote up because I went back and looked at my shows. And I noticed and recognized that I've been dealing with the political aspect of this country and the person that's currently serving in the presidency and reporting on him, about him, his actions, and things like that since 2015 when he came down the escalator. 2015 till today, my shows have been focused more on him, what he's not doing, how he's doing it, and things like that, rather than what my main focus was from the beginning. And as I sat and reflected on all these things, I noticed while I watched some videos, I didn't watch them all in depth, but while I watched some videos, as I talk about these things, there's an anger within me from this that I got to let go. And I say that because it's time for me to transition into a different realm and to reach my full potential in doing what I'm doing. 10 years. 10 years I have spent talking about, identifying, recognizing, showing, and giving you information about everything that this person and his administration has been doing wrong towards us as a people, not only, but for the country. Will I stop talking about certain issues? No. Will I stop having my main focus on this person? Yes. Now, I'm not getting away from the politics, but I'm not going to base everything that we do on this show about the politics. And there's another caveat I want to put in there that opened my eyes to this. And you can say what you want to say at me. I don't care. In the 10 years that I've been talking about this, mainstream media has been talking about it. Everybody's been talking, but I want to concentrate on this platform here. In the 10 years that I've been talking about everything that's going on politically in this country, I now see more people posting, more people putting up articles about what's going on and so on and so forth. And I stepped back for a minute. I had to ask myself, where y'all been? Where have y'all been for 10 years? Because this didn't just happen in this last election. This started happening in 2015. So I asked, where y'all been? And that's where the anger started kicking in for me, because I'm like, I've been telling y'all, not just me, I'm just talking about me. I've been telling y'all for 10 years what this man is doing every Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning. What the policies are, what he's trying to do, what he's doing. Project 2025, y'all hear me talk about these things, but everything that this man's been talking about he was going to do and how he's going to do it and the racism behind what he's doing and everything has finally come to fruition, where people are like, what are we going to do now? What's happening? How's he able to do this? The groundwork was set in 2015 when he came down the escalator. And for 10 years that I've been talking about this, it seemed like it was going in one ear and coming out the other, because they said, oh man, nah, he ain't gonna do this. He ain't gonna do that. Well, the chickens have come home to roost. Now, I don't say that to put myself on a soapbox. I say this to let you know that I'm tired. I'm tired. And I know it's bad to say that, but I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm tired of looking at it from my aspect, and from what I see on Facebook and different articles and everything, I can step back. May sound crazy, but I think I can pull back, because it seems like y'all got it now. And now that y'all have it, I can let it go. I can let it go. And as I said, I won't not talk about politics at all, different things that are going on, but I'm going to talk about the things that affect us as a people, my people, that can bleed into other folks. That's where I'm at. That's where we're here. That's where we're going with the Rodney W. Collins Speak on the show. Tune in, as I mentioned, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific every Saturday morning. And I have other things coming along where we're going to get more into self-development, growth, those type things, because at this point, at this time, for us to be so engrossed in what this person is trying to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I always say, be informed, but don't be consumed. Be informed, but don't be consumed. So I just wanted to put that out there. 10 years I've been talking about this man. I'm tired, boss. I was tired. So we got to move on to other things. I need to grow. We need to grow. As a community, we need to grow. And the only way we're going to grow is we're going to have to pull that anger out. Now, let me read that quote one more time. Every minute you spend in anger is a minute stolen from your potential. Every minute you spend in anger is a minute stolen from your potential. Now, I didn't do a calculation, but for 10 years talking about this, how much of my potential has been wasted on the anger with this man? With this man. And here's the part that I just want to say before I get off this. I keep saying this man, but I think we all need to step back and look for a minute and understand that this man is the figurehead of what all these other people want to do and have wanted to do, that have put themselves in positions to put these things in place. Him as the figurehead is just a willful participant because of the position he sits in. All the other people behind him, those puppet masters behind him, are the reasons why we're where we're at right now. That's why we're where we're at right now. Josh Boyd, amen. Pivoting, but they woke. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jackie Diggs Barnett. Amen. Yeah, it's 10 years. 10 years I wasted on it. It's like 10 years. I was gonna sing a song, but I'm gonna let it go this morning. 10 years. But we're gonna continue to do. I'm still gonna give you the information you need. I'm gonna give you the information you want, but it's just gonna be in a different way and presented in a different manner. All right. So y'all stay tuned. It's about that time. Let's go. So good morning, my brother. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you. In the news. In the news. So let me start with this. We have known for a long time. I'm 58, about to be 59, 58 years old, 58 years on this earth. And one day, as a young kid, it clicked that I'm viewed differently. Who I am, who my ancestors were, so on and so forth in this country and around this world, I'm viewed differently. Not because of anything I've done, but just because of my melanin content. So when I seen this article, I wasn't surprised, but at the same time, it's par for the course with what we're dealing with right now. So let's talk about it. This is a African American History Museum in Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian Purge, the 47th President's Team removes artifacts of Black resistance. This is an article I found by April Ryan. And the critics warn it's not just history being erased, it's identity. Black Press USA has learned that Trump officials are dismantling Smithsonian exhibits depicting African American history and returning items to their rightful owners, starting with the 1960 Woolworth's lunch counter sit-in exhibit. The president is a master of distraction and is destroying what it took 250 years to build. Here's another distraction in his quest for attention, another failure of his first 100 days, said North Carolina Rep. Alma Adams, responding to efforts to physically remove the Woolworth's lunch counter exhibit from the National Museum of African American History and Culture affectionately known as Blacksonian. The exhibit features, well, let's get into the fact of what's going on here. This administration, let's just talk about it. This administration, Abe Wheaton, good morning, welcome back, appreciate you. This administration is zeroed in on the history that this building maintains and contains. They're in the process of shipping artifacts back to the rightful owners of those artifacts and saying that they're no longer needed in this museum because and I can't remember what it said exactly, but let's just call it what it is. They want to erase whatever history they can erase just because. The article specifically talks about this exhibit right here. Let me make it a little bigger for y'all. I can make myself smaller today. This is the Greensboro lunch counter. And the Greensboro lunch counter, racial segregation was still legal in the United States on February 1st, 1960, when 4 African-American college students sat down at this Woolworth counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. Politely asking for service at this whites-only counter, the request was refused. When asked to leave, they remained in their seats. Their sit-in drew national attention and helped ignite the youth-led movement to challenge inequality throughout the South. So this is the exhibit in the national let's call it Blacksonian is what they're calling it. And I got some issues with that as well, but let's move on. But this is the lunch counter. This is a display that's there. This is the original picture of these 4 African-American black men at the lunch counter, at the Woolworth lunch counter sitting in 1960. And they are Ezel A. Blair Jr., now Jabril Kazan, Franklin E. McCain, Joseph A. McNeil, and David L. Richmond. They were students enrolled at the North Carolina Agriculture and Technical College, North Carolina A&T, when they began their protests. Protests such as this led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which finally outlawed racial segregation in public accommodations. The closing of the Greensboro Woolworth in 1993 presented museum curators with the opportunity to acquire this historic artifact. After extensive negotiation with Woolworth's executives and representatives of the local community, a small section of the lunch counter was donated to the Smithsonian. So the Smithsonian has owned this, had this lunch counter for years, back since like 1993, 94. But what we're seeing is the constant choice, let me say the choice, to try to erase anything that showed that we were standing up for our rights in this country. And when we talk about this Smithsonian, let me say this. Let me minimize this for a minute. When we talk about the Smithsonian, this is where community comes into play. This is where community has to know what they need to own. I'm not talking about the Woolworth counter. That was donated to the Smithsonian. I'm talking about all the other things, because in this article, we mentioned that there was a Bible. Reverend Dr. Amos Brown, longstanding civil rights leader and pastor of the Third Baptist Church in San Francisco, also known as the home church of former Vice President Kamala Harris. He had a Bible that was at this museum that they're sending back. We are long past the time when you can erase history, anyone's history. You can take down exhibits, close buildings, take down websites, ban books, and try to change history, but we are long past that point. We will never forget. Black Press USA also has obtained a letter from Reverend Dr. Amos Brown, longstanding civil rights leader and pastor, as I mentioned. The letter notifies Dr. Brown that the museum is returning a Bible and George W. Williams's History of the Negro Race in America, 1618 to 1880, one of the first books written on racism in the United States. They're returning it to him. They say, we don't need this here anymore. They don't want people to know that racism existed from 1680 to 1880, which is what he wrote this book about. They don't want that there. And the Bible. The letter said, Dear Reverend Brown, I wanted to alert you that the National Museum of African American History and Culture will be returning your Bible and book we borrowed for our exhibition, Segregation. The email read in part. These artifacts have been on display since the museum's opening in September of 2016. For Reverend Brown, they hold a deep meaning. For all of us, they should hold a deep meaning. These two books and the summary of my civil rights activism and my picture right there next to Medgar Evers, John Lewis, and Fred Shuttlesworth in the Desegregation of Civil Rights exhibit, Brown said, that book, History of the Negro Race in America, inspired me before there were even African studies published. In my home in that 3rd Street Baptist Church, we studied that book. The Bible, that's my father's Bible, and the Bible I used in the civil rights movement. When we went on demonstrations, we always had the Bible. Let me start with it this way. Let me just say it this way. What I started to say about community and us and owning ours. Now, I remember slightly when this museum was being built, and they talked about funding coming from people like Oprah Winfrey and all these big name celebrities were donating funds for this museum to be built through the Smithsonian, which the Smithsonian is a federal government-owned entity. Let's start with that. It's a federally owned entity, the Smithsonian. We would not be having this problem if we had ownership. And you hear me talk about this all the time, and I talk about the podcast and things. We're talking about a museum that we own that can tell our story the way we want to tell it without these issues coming up depending on who's in charge to say, we don't need this in here. We don't need people. They're trying to eliminate the whole first floor. I don't know if you've ever been to the museum, but they're trying to eliminate the whole first floor. The whole first floor tells you about how the people were brought here as slaves from the beginning. They show you the shackles. They show you the different things that went on. But they're trying to eliminate that as well. The whole first floor. You're starting by giving the artifacts back to those who donated. But then they're going to go through and purge those other things that eliminate how we were treated, how our ancestors were treated. Let me be right. How our ancestors were treated, how racism built this country, all the things you can think about that we know to be true. They're trying to erase from that museum. So if you're a person coming from a foreign country decide to visit that museum, or if you're a child in this country who decides to go, a white child, let's talk about a white child. Oh, we can talk about a black child. Going to visit this museum to see the history of the African-American black man, black woman in this country. And they want to erase all these things. They want to erase all these things because they don't want their children to know the vitriol that they showed towards a people that did not look like them and in this country, and what they're still doing today, but not to that extent. They're doing it politically and through political processes rather than just beating you and dragging you down the street or lynching you or hanging you. Cut and dry. Cut and dry. Frank Miller, good morning, my brother. Good morning. Michelle Summerall, good morning. The layout of the museum is so powerful. Yes, starts you at the bottom and works your way all the way up to present day. Sports, entertainment, Civil Rights Act, Jim Crow, all those things are there. And the process that they're trying to do is to eliminate it all. Eliminate it all. I'll bite. That display has actual shackles that Africans were brought here in, large, small, and infant sizes. Yes. Yes. And the thing we need to look at, and I'm going to get back to what I was talking about with us owning. The thing you have to look at is this. The best way for you to get a people to think that they're less than is to eliminate the struggle that they've been through to become more than. This museum encapsulates, everything that we've struggled with in this country. How we went from the shackles up to being the best entertainers, sports people in this country. The best people to do the things we do in this country in spite of. And they want to find a way to eliminate all this. And I'm going to get back to what I was saying about us and ownership. When I mentioned the people that were donating, I start off open. I don't know all the names, so I don't want to leave nobody out. But there's a lot of people that donated money for this to help build First question I have is, if it's federally owned, why do we even have to donate money? Let's go there first. I don't remember hearing nothing about those other museums having to have people contribute money and for them to run or anything, but that's another story for another day. I'll have to do my research. But let's ask this question. If we felt the need to have a museum in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, how many of the people that we know that are of wealth, African-American Black people that are of wealth, could have contributed and invested in the building of that without having to use or having to be owned by the federal government? I understand the money aspect, but there's grants that a lot of people get for different things. There's certain donations that people can get. But see, this is where the water gets muddy, because I remember there was a campaign for us to contribute to this at one time. I think I contributed. I think it was like $25 or something like that. They asked you to contribute to help with the building, help with getting it together, getting it up and running. But this is where we're at now. Let's just talk about where we're at now. Well, they're not talking about getting rid of the building. They're talking about getting rid of everything in the building, where the building would just be a shell of what it's supposed to be. Why? Because this is what they want to do. What do? Case in point. They're already talking about dismantling the history, trying to eliminate the history, giving artifacts back and things like that. And this is just the first part. Trump rescinds HBCU support, a dismantling of opportunity for our youth. It's important to note that while HBCUs primarily serve Black students, they are not exclusively Black institutions. The Trump administration's recent decision to rescind, that means take away, get rid of, the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities, HBCUs, formalized in Executive Order 14041 of September 3rd, 2021, represents a grave disservice to American higher education and a direct affront to the aspirations of Black students. The move, detailed in an April 23rd White House order, threatens to undermine the progress and potential of institutions that have been vital to the advancement of African Americans for generations. The stated purpose of the now revoked Executive Order 14041 was to elevate the value and impact of our nation's HBCUs as beacons of educational excellence and economic opportunity. So they want to get rid of the executive order that Joe Biden signed back in, 2021? It was going to put initiatives in place for HBCUs. The executive order, signed initially by former President Joe Biden, aimed to support HBCUs in providing the highest quality education, obtaining equal opportunities for participation in federal programs, and empowering college-educated Americans. The rescinding of the order signals a stark departure from these goals. Trump's new executive order establishes the White House Initiative on Historically Black Colleges and Universities. Its mission includes increasing private sector roles to strengthen HBCUs and enhance their capabilities to serve young adults. It also calls for collaboration between agencies to enhance HBCUs, competitiveness for federal research and development funding, as well as convening an annual White House summit on HBCUs. However, the revocation of Executive Order 14041 casts a shadow over these stated intentions. I want you to listen closely. The impact of this decision will be felt most acutely by Black students. For many, HBCUs offer a unique and supportive environment that fosters a sense of belonging and cultural identity. These institutions have a proven track record of success in educating and graduating Black students, often at rates higher than predominantly white institutions. A 2020 study by the United Negro College Fund found that HBCUs graduates Black students at a rate of 47% compared to 39% at non-HBCUs. Furthermore, HBCUs play a critical role in awarding degrees in STEM fields to African American students. According to the National Science Foundation, historically Black colleges and universities award 24% of all bachelor's degrees earned by Black students in STEM fields. The data is particularly significant given the underrepresentation of Black professionals in these crucial sectors. Now, here's where it gets muddy. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. This administration, these people that are in charge of policies, legislation, they don't go in to try to enhance or improve anything that has already been done. Their goal is to go in and destroy whatever's been done and put it in the plans of what they want and how they think it should be. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. The potential ramifications of Trump decisions extend beyond the students themselves. HBCUs frequently serve as anchor institutions in the communities, providing employment opportunities, cultural resources, and economic stimuli. Weakening these institutions can have a ripple effect, negatively impacting the economic and social well-being of the surrounding areas. Erase, eliminate, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. Erase, eliminate. Erase, eliminate. It's a vicious cycle. And if you notice, when we talk about things like this, it's not only one aspect, eliminating, the history, eliminating historically Black colleges and universities. It's not eliminating those things. It's how the systems are set up to hold us to a different account, no matter what the situation is. No matter what the situation is. And that's where, we see these things happening. And we have to ask ourselves, what can we do? What should we be doing? And when and where did we fall asleep at the wheel in order for this to be happening right now? Now, I'm not saying that we could have done a whole lot, because there's certain things that just, I don't know. It's disheartening when you think about the erasure of everything, or the minimizing of everything that has been done by people of color in this country. We're so focused now on people that are being round up, the illegal people who they call illegal immigrants being round up and taken to El Salvador and things like that. But behind the scenes, these are the things they're doing. Because the headline news is they're not going to release a person who shouldn't have been rounded up by ICE and taken to El Salvador. But in the meantime, while the mainstream media is concentrating on that, they're eliminating the history of this country right under our nose. Right under our nose. So what do we need to do? Where do we need to get better? We need to start standing up. And we've stood up. Don't get me wrong. As far as these marches have been going on, and African-American Black women said they were sitting this one out. They went off without a hitch. But if you notice, they said that there were no big police presence at these rallies because they knew we weren't coming, different things like that. Writings on the wall. Writings on the wall for what is going on. It's I don't know what to tell you, y'all. Let's go to this real quick. Fellas, it's time to elevate your grooming game. Introducing Respected Roots, the premium beard care line designed with Black men in mind. Because your beard isn't just facial hair, it's a statement, a symbol of confidence, style, and strength. All right, let's talk about keeping your beard sharp and on point. First step, sculpting. Fresh lines are everything. Keeping it clean and defined sets the foundation for a great beard. Once I've got the shape locked in, it's time to cleanse. The Respected Roots Beard Wash gets rid of dirt and buildup without drying out my beard. It leaves my beard feeling soft and refreshed. Next up, the beard oil. This is where the hydration magic happens. I massage it in, making sure it gets to the skin underneath. It keeps my beard moisturized and smelling fresh all day. And finally, the beard butter. This locks in all the moisture, smooths out any frizz, and gives my beard that healthy, polished shine. Look at this. It's soft, full, and ready to dominate. From sculpting to styling, Respected Roots has everything you need to take your beard to the next level. Gentlemen, your beard deserves respect, and respect starts with Respected Roots. Use the link to grab yours today and receive 15% off. Trust me, your beard will thank you. RespectedRoots.com/Rodney 55428. RespectedRoots.com/Rodney 55428. RespectedRoots.com/Rodney 55428. Appreciate everybody that's already purchased. If you haven't purchased, go on and buy you some of that beard. Or, I don't have my beard right now. I got the goatee going, but it still works. It works in the goatees as well. Just go on out there and get you some of that. Get you some of that product. I don't get a whole lot, but I get some discounts when you buy. So they help me out. So let's get into this here. I wrote this out yesterday because I want to lead into something. Because you've heard me talk about this many times on this show through the years. And I talk about different justice for different people. And I titled this 2 Sales, 1 Injustice. 2 Sales, 1 Injustice. And it goes like this. Imagine 2 men. One, a career criminal with powerful connections, was caught red-handed in a web of corruption, violence, and deceit. His conviction was broadcast nationwide. Justice, the headlines proclaimed, had finally prevailed. Yet a decade later, he walks free. Not because new evidence proved him innocent, but because of influence, favors, or political ties. A pardon signed in ink, not conscious, erases his past as though it never happened. The second man, let's call him James, was just a kid when he was accused of a crime he didn't commit. No evidence, no motive, just a flawed system hungry for a conviction. He lost his 20s, 30s, even 40s behind bars, missed his mother's funeral, never had kids. No one rallied for him until decades later when a few voices finally pierced the silence. DNA evidence proved what James had said all along. He was innocent. But by then, his life wasn't just paused, it was taken. Now, picture James standing outside the prison gates, clutching a trash bag of state-issued belongings, blinking against the sun he hasn't felt in 30 years. There's no press conference, no apology that could possibly be enough. No pension, no time machine, just the wreckage of a stolen life. And then he sees the news. Another man pardoned, a guilty man, celebrated, rehabilitated, they say, given a second chance. But James never got a first chance. When the guilty are pardoned for convenience or politics, it's not just an insult to justice. It's a knife to the hearts of the truly innocent. It sends a message that truth is negotiable, that innocence isn't sacred, and that time served means nothing if the system can erase guilt with a signature and ignore innocence for decades. One man was guilty and set free. The other one was innocent and forgotten. Which one does our justice system reward? Now, I've talked about this a lot on this show, how we have people who serve 20, 30, 40 years at a time for crimes they didn't commit, because they just wanted a conviction somehow, some way. But this week, Nancy Obing, good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Big Al, my brother. Appreciate you, bro. This week, and I thought about all those people I've reported on this show. Those I've reported on and those that I never even heard of. They were spent 20, 30, 40 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. But this week, this lady here, Michelle Fiore, a Republican Justice of the Peace and former Las Vegas City Council member. She was pardoned by Donald Trump. She was charged with 6 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. She's 54 years old, and she faced up to 140 years in prison, 20 years for each count. She was found guilty. I want you to listen to this very clear. She was found guilty of taking money meant for a memorial honoring a police officer killed in the line of duty and spending it on, wait for it, plastic surgery, rent, and her daughter's wedding. Let me repeat that. She used it on plastic surgery, which if you look at the picture, I ain't want to judge nobody, but anyway, plastic surgery, rent, and her daughter's wedding. She faced up to 140 years behind bars. And they pardoned her, which erases the whole convictions that she was up against. She was found guilty already. She just hadn't been sentenced. These things here are what stunts my growth and my potential due to the anger that I feel. And I don't need to go through the full list of people who have been pardoned, who have actually, let's be real, who have actually committed the crimes that they were charged with and are being pardoned, not because they didn't do the crime, but simply because they know somebody who knows somebody, or they have the complexion for the protection. I can't imagine. Let me get her off the screen because I can't look at her no more. I can't imagine or even fathom the thought of being in jail, prison, let's call it prison, 20, 30, 40 years, and continually telling people that I didn't do it. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. You got the wrong person. And then to see this, or the stories like this, where I've been put away and forgotten about, not because I did the crime, but simply because I look the way I look and they need someone to supposedly fit the description. To see this, and to just talk about it right now, causes that feeling. I got a pit in my stomach right now. And I wrote this yesterday, but just reading it again, yeah. I don't get it, people. And I probably never will. but I'm going to do everything I can to highlight it because we need voices in these places to point out the hypocrisy that goes on in this justice system. I may not be in front of the judge. I may not be in the courtroom, but we need to recognize that this type of thing that happens all too often only happens to us, where we're put in jail and the key is thrown away just because they need someone to be held accountable for a crime that they did lazy work to find out who actually did it. And they pick up the first person that they can find that fits the description. No other way around it. No other way around it. It is what it is. But I want to get into this. Let's go. Straight talk, straight talk, straight talk. You know, about a month ago, I talked about people having an issue with Bronny James being in the NBA. And the vitriol being thrown towards his father because they say he shouldn't be in the league. He shouldn't be there. He's not better than these people. They can't, but they're saying he wasn't better than other people, but you still couldn't name the top 10 draft picks in the draft that went before him when he was number 55. You know, all that I talked about. And now we've gone full circle in another way. And I want to start off with this quote from Deion Sanders. Don't allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. Don't allow my confidence to offend your insecurity. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Jackson State and then Colorado Buffaloes, was projected to be a top 5 draft pick during the season. Yesterday ended the 3rd round of the NFL draft. He still hasn't been selected. There's reports came out that one NFL scout or something said he was arrogant and, you know, they didn't like the way he presented himself in his interviews and so on and so forth. It had nothing to do with his game, his field of how he played on the field. They say he was arrogant. How he carried himself, the way he spoke, different things like that. And a lot of people got opinions, and a lot of people say, oh, this has nothing to do with the young man. It has to do with his father. They don't like his father, prime time, because don't allow my confidence to offend your insecurity, and they're taking it out on his son at this time. But I see a lot of people upset. I get it. But how upset are you really? Because I know once the season starts, well, let me back up. And a lot of people say it is racism. They're saying it's racism, but you can't say it's racism because the number 1 pick was an African-American black man, young man, Cam Ward. But my problem with this is you got people out here voicing their opinion, oh, it's wrong. And Stephen A. Smith on the thing saying, it's collusion with the owners and they're doing him what they did to Kaepernick because he took a knee. And wait a minute, Stephen A. Smith. Because if I remember correctly, you were hell-bent about disparaging the actions of what Colin Kaepernick did. And then when they blackballed him, you still went against him. But now you want to bring his name up when it's convenient because we're talking about Deion Sanders' son. See how that... But in spite of all I've said about them blackballing Kaepernick at the time, despite everything we see that happens with the NFL and different things like that, and despite of what they're saying is happening with the owners colluding to keep Shedeur Sanders out of the draft or drafting him late or anything like that, y'all still gonna turn on the NFL every Sunday morning. You're still going to turn on the NFL on Sunday Night Football. You're still going to turn it on for Monday Night Football. So the anger that you're talking about is only situational. It's situational anger. It's not anger to the point of being angry with the way the owners are handling their business. It's anger towards the fact of what? Because you're still going to turn the TV on. You're still going to sit in the stands, and you're still going to root for the team that you feel is the best team each year. Can we efficiently straddle both sides of the fence? Can we? Because if you're seeing this happening, you were mad about the Kaepernick situation. Now you're mad about the Sanders situation, but you're still watching. You still turn it on every Sunday. Once you've seen this young man wasn't drafted, if you were true to who you are and the understanding of what's going on, you would have turned the draft off and wouldn't looked at it no more. But you're watching. Because now you want to see when he's going to go and who he's going to go to. But I wrote this about confidence. Black confidence, to be exact. Why y'all scared of black confidence? Why y'all scared of black confidence? Let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Why is it that when a black man walks into the room, shoulders squared, voice steady, unbothered, the air shifts? Why is it when a black woman speaks up loud, clear, and without apology, suddenly she's doing too much, too bold, too direct, too confident? We got to ask the uncomfortable question. Why does black confidence make other folks, so uneasy? Why does our self-belief feel like a threat instead of what it is? Power reclaiming itself. Because let's be real, for centuries, society told us to stay in our place, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Smile, but don't shine too bright. Speak, but only when spoken to. Succeed, but don't get proud about it. Black confidence is not arrogance. It's not aggression. It's resistance. It's healing. It's ancestral survival wrapped in swagger. When we say, I am somebody, I'm black and I'm proud, I will rise, I deserve more, we're not making noise, we're making room. So yeah, maybe it makes you uncomfortable. Maybe it rattles your norms, but that's not our problem. That's yours. Because black confidence doesn't shrink to soothe your fragility. It expands, it uplifts, it leads. So the next time you feel the need to label a confident black soul as arrogant or intimidating, ask yourself, are they really too much? Or are you just not used to seeing us fully free? And that in itself is the real fear. That in itself is the real fear. See, when we talk about confidence, and let's be real, we have people in our own community that are intimidated by somebody else's confidence that looks like them. Not knowing their journey, not knowing what they've been through, not knowing why they walk with such confidence. But the confidence that you exude gets you called out your name, gets you labeled. Let's just talk about Jasmine Crockett for a minute. Because she is saying everything that they don't want to hear. No one to this day on anything I've seen has come out and say that Jasmine Crockett is lying about anything she has said, or there's no facts behind what she is telling them that they're doing. But they can't rebut what she's saying. So they go to attack who she is and how confident she is in who she is. And then we got us. Oh, she's ghetto. Even us, we say this about our confident sisters. We say this about our confident brothers. And when we say it, they feel comfortable saying it. Why? Because they feel, well, if they feel that way, it's okay for me to feel that way. Something that I understand is people being fearful of your belief in yourself. The confidence that you exude, that when you walk in a room, you don't have to look for somebody that seems familiar. When you walk in a room, you command the room. It's not something that we walk in the room or we get in the car and we pump ourselves up to say, when I walk in here, I'm walking in here with my head high, my chest out. No, it's who we are. It's who you have become because the confidence you have in yourself exudes from you. It's an aura. It's a being. It's a mindset. And for people to be intimidated or to minimize the greatness you exude when you walk into a room and make your confidence seem like you're arrogant says more about them than it does about you. And if we can get to the understanding where we say, hey, this is me, accept it or move on. I don't need you in my life. I don't need you in my presence. If you can't accept me for the greatness that I exude, that you feel minimizes what greatness you think you deserve. This is where, when I look at what's going on with Shador Sanders, this is an issue not only by the owners, not only by the coaches and the head people. This is an issue for a lot of people simply because they don't see themselves in Shador Sanders. They don't see themselves in the confidence he exudes. They don't see themselves being who he is and what he can accomplish if given the opportunity. Why? Because everything that these owners have was probably given to them by inheritance. Everything Shador Sanders has, he's worked for. Yeah, his father's Deion Primetime Sanders. But guess what? He had to work to get where he's at. And at the end of the day, they said, this one right here, we're going to knock him down a peg. We're going to knock him down a peg. He's just walking too confidently. He knows he's supposed to be here. No, we need to let him know that this is a privilege to be drafted into the NFL. You don't think he knows that? This is where we have to look at things and say, if they don't support us across the board, we shouldn't be supporting them at all. And I'm talking about the NFL as a whole. You can get mad. If you one of them fans, a hardcore fan season come around, that's all you post about is do some. Think about if that was your son. Think about if that was you. That you don't get a job simply because you walk in and you're confident in your abilities. You're confident in your abilities when you go to a job interview and you don't get that job. Not because you're not qualified, but because the person interviewing you is intimidated by your confidence. Why? Because they're thinking if you come in there and you're able to do the things that they know you can do by looking at you and what your resume says, they may be out of a job. Think about it. Think about it. You know, I don't like to get into calling everything racism and everything like that because, you know, they say, well, the number one pick was black and Aston Genty went to the Raiders and other players went and everything like this. This is a sign that no matter how high you may think you are, and no matter how much you carry your confidence in how you are and who you are, we got something for you. We're going to put you in your place. That's all this is. It's the same thing they did to Kaepernick. Call it what it is. And if you really think about it, it's the same reason a lot of people didn't vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. When you exude confidence in your abilities, they'll find a way. They'll find a way or work on a way to put you back in your place. It's that simple. It's that simple. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll be back again next week. I hope everybody's safe out there. Be safe. Hang in there. As I said, we're going to get into some bigger conversations, some deeper conversations as we go. But, just remember this here. This is where we're going. We're going to continue doing this. The 3 Ps: purpose, power, and possibility. With purpose, I align my actions. With power, I claim my strength. And with possibility, I embrace the endless opportunities that life offers. The 3 Ps: purpose, power, and possibility. I'll see y'all again next week. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. As I always say, I almost forgot. As I always say before I sign off, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely, keep your faith in God. I'll see y'all again next week, and I'm out. Love y'all. Peace.